So I'm from Malta, where in fact we do have regulation. We have a VFA framework, which is quite aligned with MiCA, at least from the asset service from the provider side, not from the issuers. So we're already quite aligned. So fortunately, if you're licensed in Malta, you'll be grandfathered into MiCA because we're quite aligned. In other jurisdictions, there's just AML registration, which isn't really much. It's not really a license. So I believe the same journey that Malta went through between, let's say, 2019 and 2021 to get accustomed to this new regulation, all other member states will go through, because obviously it's a new law and regulators, market operators, lawyers will need to get accustomed with the new law. So there might be some confusion and perhaps some ambiguity in terms of how this is all going to roll out. In terms of what I think about the regulation, I think there's many positive aspects, specifically when it comes to regulating centralized players. So liability for custodians, fair and more transparent rules when it comes to trading venues, better governance rules. So effectively applying for a license under MiCA is going to be very similar to applying for a license under many other industries. So if you're applying for a brokerage license under investment services or an e-money license under the financial services regime, in terms of the process, it's quite similar. So business plan, projections, policies, governance, etc. So obviously, I think that's very positive. When it comes to stablecoins, I believe that there are some restrictions, and there might be some market disruptions in terms of how it's going to roll out. So we have three categories. We have utility tokens, and as Joachim explained, there's just going to be notification, no license or approval, and also all utility tokens which are in circulation until MiCA comes into force will be sort of exempt, not to cause market disruption. Then we have e-money tokens, which, yes, will be regulated like EMIs. However, there are a few differences, and this is mainly in the composability of the blockchain and of the token itself, and also the network effects. Because when you have an e-money token, it is the issuer which will control who can send the e-money, what can happen. When it comes to stable coins, of course, you can send peer-to-peer without any centralized authority. And when it comes to third-party protocols, these can obviously use the stable coins. So, for example, MiCA bans interest. So what will happen if a third-party protocol wants to offer interest? Will this be allowed? Will this be addressed in the RTSs? Also, we have the ARTs. So ARTs are basically any stable coin which is not e-money backed by euro. So basically USDC, USDT, and others, which make up 95% of the market cap, will be considered asset reference tokens. So obviously after MiCA, if these asset reference tokens, so USDC, USDT, don't apply to get authorized under MiCA, then they obviously won't be allowed to be listed on European trading venues, which could cause some disruption. So obviously it's beneficial to push the euro, and this is the intention of the Commission. However, one would hope that these bigger players who sort of dominate the market right now and do have a very key important function within the CeFi and DeFi ecosystems do apply for authorization. So we could see certain new e-money tokens rise to the occasion and be used and adopted the same way, let's say, USDC are. But this is a sort of unknown into how this is going to roll out, because obviously stablecoins are a very important part of the ecosystem. So a lot of unknowns, but a lot of positives. Obviously, like institutional investors will be protected and more interested because we have more clarity, more regulation. So I'm curious to see how it's going to roll out. And I think that this will be addressed better when we have the RTSs, because there's a lot of ambiguity in terms of, okay, can third-party protocols offer interest or not? Let's say DAI, which is fully decentralized, how will this be treated? Will it still be able to be listed on trading venues? So I am hopeful and I am optimistic, but I'm curious to see what new players will be on the market, and in terms of the old important players, if these will opt for authorization under MiCA.